according to the power that worketh in us. Now we want to glean our thought from that scripture. We got a few more scriptures to read, but from that thought, we want to glean our thought. God wants to make a deposit.
Oh, that's good.
God wants to make a deposit. Now, when I think of deposits and when I think about making a deposit, immediately the bank comes in mind. You know, bank institutions come in mind. And when I think of banks, I think of the fact that whenever I go to the bank, it's for two things and two things only. It's to either increase myself financially, or it is to give myself a pleasurable moment by decreasing what I have putting in to give myself an opportunity to enjoy my life. So often we don't think of God making deposits in our life. We only think of God as what we got to do for him so that he'll bless us. But how many times do you stop and you think about, has God been trying to make deposits, but he can't make a deposit if the doors are locked? He can't make a deposit if the bank is being closed, or if it's on vacation, or if it's on a holiday. You got to be open to receive all that God has. Now, Ephesians 3:20 tells us, he said that now unto him that is able to do exceedingly and abundantly above all that we ask or think. It is right there. It's talking about the fact that God has the ability to do more than what you anticipate that he can do for you. God has the ability to make your process better or even greater than what you anticipated that he can. Now, the only way he can do this is that God has to be able to what? Make a deposit. The only way he can make a deposit, you have to be available to receive what God is trying to give.
Come on now.
You can go to the bank and you can have a handful of money, but it will never get into your account if no teller is available to receive your deposit. If the teller don't receive your deposit, you just got money in your hand and it can't even be enhanced. It can't be increased. It can't draw no interest. It can't do nothing you want it to do other than be in your hand and be what you desire to make a deposit of. But the minute the teller said, may I help you, it starts the process, because now the teller have made a welcoming statement that I am willing and ready to do what you want me to do right now. So often God comes to make a deposit in our life, but we don't allow him to make the deposit. It goes on to say, and bear with me, it goes on to say, according to the power that worketh in us. Remember, I talked about the teller having the ability to receive what it is being given. Now, you have the power and the authority to receive what God is trying to deposit. As God is trying to put a deposit into your life to enhance you, you must have the ability or the audacity to say, what can I do to help you, God? I'm willing to receive my deposit. I'm willing to receive what you have to put into me. You know, a man and a woman in a relationship has to deposit within the relationship for it to go, for it to work. You go on your job, the jobs have to deposit into you, and you got to deposit into the job to receive benefits from it. Because if you don't deposit in, you get no return outward. See, the thing of it is, if you can open up an account, just because you got an account open at the bank does not mean that you can now withdraw and receive the benefits of withdrawing, because you have not did what? Made deposit. You got to put something into the process to receive something out of the process to be able to do anything. A lot of times we expect God to do all the work and we do nothing. When God is waiting and patiently waiting on you to say, may I help you, and what can I do to assist you? A lot of times we don't ask God those questions because we don't want to be obligated to God to do what God is requiring to make the deposit. The funny thing is, I can take $1 to the Bank of America and make a deposit. I can turn around and go to that same bank in that same line to that same teller, and I can deposit $10,000 into the bank. Nothing is different with the depositing, but it is a deposit. It's all done the exact same way. No matter what you put in, it's the same process to get it in there. Right. But the thing of it is, once I make the deposit, depending on what I deposit, determines how much I'm going to get out of what I'm putting in. That's right. A lot of folks ain't putting nothing in, but they got an account with God, but they ain't using it. It's bad to have an account with God, and God has designed a deposit in your life, but you're too busy trying to do your own process that you refuse to deposit over and over and over again. Mm-hmm. I've never walked in the bank and they didn't accept my deposit. I never walked in the bank. Well, I take that back. Only once I walked in the bank one time to make a deposit, and it had my name on it. And it had my wife's name on it. And the bank lady asked me, what can I do to help you? And I said, I want to make this deposit. And as I got ready to make the deposit, she looked at the check and she flipped it over and she examined the back and she flipped it back over and she looked at the front again and then she flipped it back over. She said, Mr. Gordon, I'm sorry I can't make this deposit for you. I said, why is that? She said, on the front of this check, it says your name to pay to the order of. He said, but she said there is a second name on the check. And the second name is Gisela Gordon. And she had a hard time trying to pronounce it. I said, yeah, that's my wife. She said, well, the problem I'm having is you have the ability to make a deposit because it's your account. She said, but what makes me stop here and I can't deposit the check is that your wife's name is on the front of the check. I said, what's wrong with that? We got the same last name. That's my wife. We making this check is in both our name. And the account is in my name, so she has the benefit to be able to get it. She said, no, she has to release the ability for me to deposit it into your account because the depositing that I'm finna make, it benefits her as well. But if I place it into your account, she lose all her ownership of the check and she cannot use the funds. Why? Because her name ain't on the account. That's why I said sometimes you can be in the wrong place at the wrong time and receive the wrong blessing. The thing of it is, if God is trying to deposit into your life, but you in Sister Sue's spot trying to receive her blessing, you're going to miss what God really had for you because you can't use what Sister Sue was meant for her. So often, and we're going a little further. So often we lose connection with God, not because God lost connection with us. It's because we lost connection with how to keep in touch. We closed. Go to the book of Psalms 25 and 5. Chapter 25, verse 5. Now, we talk about God making deposits. We talk about us being prepared to receive the deposit. But there is something that got to go along with your preparation to be able to receive what God has. We're approaching up on Christmas time. People are getting excited. I was listening to the radio Friday on the way to work. And they was talking the news. And they was talking about all the weather. And y'all know we've been having a lot of rain. And they've been talking about traffic and everything. And how the situation was dire right now and what have you. And the lady said, I'm gonna enhance y'all anxiousness right now. And the guy's like, what do you mean? She said, I hate to do this to y'all, but I'm gonna do it. And he said, what are you talking about? And his anxiety level got up because he was anxious now because he's trying to see what she's talking about. And she said, it's only 19 weeks before Christmas. I think that's what she said. 19 weeks before Christmas. And the guy said, why would you say that right now? Because I wasn't even thinking about Christmas, but now you done put it on my mind. She said, we only got 19 more Tuesdays before Christmas is upon us. And then when she said it, he said, now I feel like I got to get in a hurry because it's upon me now. Yeah. Because she made it feel the anxiety level rise a little bit. And then they started talking about Christmas. And he said, look, we're not even in the month close to Christmas. We got a couple months before it comes. Why are we talking about it now? And she said, I just wanted to show that sometimes you can insert something in a process and it would change the dynamics of it, because you would now start to focus on the end cap of it versus where you are right now. A lot of times we're focusing on the process, but we haven't done nothing in preparation to be ready for what we're getting ready to receive. Because God is about to give you something. Because he wants to make a deposit, but you got to make it available.
Got to be available. Amen.
It says, Psalms 25:5, lead me in thy truth and teach me, for thou art the God of my salvation. On thee do I wait all the day. These scriptures or these words are dealing with the dependency on God. Now, the thing of it is, even though I got money in the bank, my dependency on being able to go get my money is I am dependent that the bank will be willing to work with me when I walk in. Even though I got the money in the bank, I still don't be confident enough that when I walk in, I'm going to get it. You know why? Because it's on the behalf of the bank that they won't tell me something I don't want to hear.
We lost all you.
You can walk in the bank and make deposit after deposit after deposit and say, oh, I'm building up and I got X amount. And you look at your bank account on your statement and you say, whoa, I got a lot of money in the bank. Now I'm going to go get some so that I can have a vacation. You go in with the anticipation that the bank is going to yield to you what's yours. Because why? You have did what you needed to do to be able to have that moment in your life be successful. You have prepared for the moment that you can walk in the bank and make a withdrawal. Not the fact that you have made money, but the fact that you made deposit. You could have made thousands and millions of dollars, but never made a deposit. At the day you want to go in and get money, if you only deposit $1, that's the most you're going to get out of it is $1. You can't walk because you made $1 deposit 10 years later and say, now I need $10,000 because I made a deposit. But to make 10,000, you got to make 10,000 deposits to get to that point. Oh, that was a mouthful. I was in a heated moment saying that. You know why? Because a lot of times we expect God to do, but we ain't done nothing for God to do something for.
That's right.
Not just you ain't serving him. You have not made opportunities for God to move. How can God make a deposit in a process that is dormant and null and void at the moment that he comes? Because I've worked in banks all my life. There are some accounts that you call active accounts. They're very active. They get withdrawals and deposits all day and all night. They constantly making the revolving window work. They use the process. But there are some accounts, they're full of money, but they're dormant because nobody have attended to the account. So I said, what are you talking about? As long as it's in there, I have an account. Yeah, you do, but you have an account that's not working. You know why? Because it's dormant. Meaning there has not been no activity in this account. With no activity, the account goes what we call dormant. It goes into sleep. It rests. And it goes completely ineffective as other accounts. These accounts are accounts the bank searches and researches because they got to figure out what has made this account go dormant. Why is this account sitting here? Some accounts go dormant because some people accounts have been frozen. It's full of money, but the government said you can't use it because until you satisfy what you have with me, you can't use what you think is yours because what's yours now is mine. See, the thing of it is, some folks don't understand that their relationship with God is profitable as long as they're doing something to keep it active. If it go dormant, it's not active anymore. If the enemy done froze your account, God can walk to make a deposit into you, and there won't be an ability to do so. Why? Because you have not attended to the process. A lot of times people don't do that. These scriptures warned us, and it deals with the fact that God we're letting God know we have dependency on you. How many of you really depend on God? I'm talking about really, really depend on God. A lot of times we depend more on circumstances than we do God. A lot of times we depend more on our paychecks and situations and things before we believe God. Depend on God. You know, some folks be on their job and they so worried when they see HR walking the floor, and they get nervous and they get scared. And the other day I was down in the break room and I was getting me something to snack on. And as I was getting my snack, and this lady come across, she said, "Hey, what are you doing down there in this thing? It's your break?" And I said, "No." I said, "I just need you to come downstairs and give me a snack." She said, "Well, you better hurry up and get back up there in your seat before they let you go. Because you know they're letting people go around here for walking around." I said, "Baby, let me tell you something. First off, let's understand who really is in control. God is in my control of my process. Now, if they had the ability to determine what my outcome is going to be, they could have done this a long time ago. The reason they can't do it is because God is in full control. When God is in control of the account, can't nobody do nothing but God. See, what I'm trying to show you is my name is on the bank account. My name is on the statements. My name is related to the bank. I don't care if your last name is my last name. You can walk in the bank and you can't get nothing just because your last name is my last name. You can walk in the bank and have my first name and my last name, but it won't entitle you to what I have placed in the bank. You know why? Because they got to check the credentials to make sure you are the correct person. A lot of times God checked your credentials and he realized that you ain't been living saved like you say you've been living saved. You ain't been dedicated like you claiming the people that you are. You can put on airs or put on a show and a grand facade before people, but if your process ain't correct with God, when you go into the bank, God gonna say your qualification don't match what it takes to get out what you're trying to get out of the process.
Come on.
See, the reason they would not deposit my check with my wife's name on it, because she didn't sign the back. They said, first off, before you can take all the money, she must yield to you the authority to make the deposit. Meaning that she's understanding that once it goes into this account, she can't wake up one morning and want some of the money and come to the bank and get it and say, a check was deposited that had my name on it, I want the money. No, baby, what happened is the person name that's on the account, you yield all rights to him because you signed it over. Oh, it gets real when God walks to you and you expect God to give you what belongs to somebody else because you feel like you're deserving of it.
That's right.
Because you feel like you are now in a position because you got the ability to go on your knees and pray, but you're asking for stuff you ain't made no deposit with.
That's right.
You're claiming things, saying I put my name on it, and I'm claiming, and God said it takes more than your name on it to claim it. See, the thing you don't understand is, I went to a bank the other day that I didn't even have an account at. But my name was on the face of the check. The lady says, I can give you the money that you want, but I can't give you the money that you need. I said, wait a minute, what do you mean you can give me the money that I'm expecting or want, but you can't give me the money that I need? She said, see, Mr. Gordon, you don't have an account here at this bank. I said, so? The person wrote me the check, they have an account here. She said, yeah, what it does now is give you the right to get the money out of their bank. But what it don't give you the right is to receive everything on the face of what you think you're finna receive. I went to the bank with $100, but she said, Mr. Gordon, I gotta take $8 to be able to give you your $100. Or else you need to take this to your bank so you can get the full $100. I said, why is it? She said, because you don't have an account here, there is a charge to withdraw. Oh God, this is real. Sometimes we're living in our grandmothers and mothers and our fathers' ability that they have lived for God, and we're making withdrawals, but we're not getting the full effect what God can really give us. Why? Because we have made no deposit. We have made no obligation to the process.
Wow.
So we can't receive the full benefit. Can't get that. I was out with my grandbaby yesterday, and we was having a good time. And she was looking at me, and sometimes I wonder, and I know it's not true, because I know a mother love go a long ways. As great as I've been to my 4 kids, they'll never love me as equal to what they love their mother. And that's cool, because you cannot take away a mother's affection, a mother's desire for their child, and a child's desire for their mother. A child's mother means a lot to them. Now, I mean a lot to them, but the mother have nurtured them. She brought them. I didn't bring them into the world. I didn't suffer 9 months and carry them. I didn't put in the same deposit that she put in. What I do understand is I am the daddy, but that does not entitle me to everything that she's entitled to. Now, back to the point that I looked at my grandbaby. Her mother pushed her in the buggy, but she was looking around her mother trying to find me. And she said, she gave her that face. She said, why is she making that face? And then when I look in, she gets smiling and bright-eyed and start laughing and kicking and going on. And then I said, oh, so I go hide back behind her mother, and she get that face again. And her mother said, oh, no, she's not. She wants you over me. No, it's not that she wanted me over her. But at the time that she went to the bank, she didn't need a certain amount of the withdrawal. She only needed a withdrawal from her papa.
Yeah.
And her papa realized that she's needing me to pay attention right now. So I began to pay attention to her. As I paid attention to her, people around started seeing it. And this one guy, he walked up and he was talking. And he was excited about the relationship we had. My wife had the baby, and he was talking to her about the baby and everything. And the baby saw me, and she started reaching for me. And as she reached for me, and her grandmother said, oh, she want her pawpaw. And they called me Pawpaw Wow. She want her Pawpaw Wow. And as she was looking to give her to me, the man watched her give it, and she grabbed a handful of my beard. As she grabbed my beard, it really intrigued him. He said to me, woo, she got a handful, and then she used the other hand and grabbed another hand. He said she got 2 handfuls of that beard. She gonna snatch it out because my grandbaby would grab it and she would pull it with all her might, and then she would let it go. But it intrigues her to be able to do that. And it don't hurt me. It just makes our relationship be just that much more closer. The thing of it is, he looked at her and he said, man, that must be, he didn't even have a beard. He said, I would wear a beard just to have her grab my beard and pull it, because it seemed like she pulled it with so much love and affection. See, the thing of it is, you can want something for God, but you haven't put nothing in. It's not going to seem the same as the person who have dedicated, who have put their time in, who now withdrawing. God have more joy in giving to them than he do to the one that he just got to do because he just got a need to do it. That's not a full withdrawal with a check that you withdrawing something that don't belong to you. Don't mind if I take this off. I'm almost close. I began to look at these scriptures. I got a couple more, and I got to get to them. Go to Job 34 and 32. Chapter 34, verses 32. Job is going to be real sincere with something here. He says, and let me know when you got it. 34 and 32. Okay. And he says, that which I see not teach thou me. Let me say that again. That which I see not teach thou me. If I have done iniquity, I will do it no more. Now, what these scriptures and what these words are dealing with is dealing with the honesty with God about you. It's understanding that to make withdrawals, you got to be honest. These crooked people go to the bank all the time. People look out for crooked people and make sure they ain't getting something that don't belong to them. Because there's always somebody trying to withdraw from the process that they don't deserve. So often, spiritually thinking and looking at this, is a lot of folks go to God withdrawing something that they put nothing in, but falsely presenting themselves to God to be something that they're not, thinking that God's not going to recognize them. These scriptures, he said, Job's verse says, that which I see not, teach thou me. Whatever I don't see and understand about my process, teach it to me, Lord. Yeah. Whatever I'm misinterpreting, help me to understand. I want to use a teaching analogy right here. A teacher goes into a room empty with no kids, but full of chairs. The thing of it is, she has a capacity that she can take on the ability to teach people that want to sit in these chairs and learn a process. Now, I got teachers in the room so they can be a witness and let you know that when a teacher walks in a room with empty chairs, she sees great opportunities that these are minds, these are lives that I'm about to change and affect. Even though ain't nobody sitting in them, she said, in a minute, somebody's going to make a deposit. When those deposits come, they're going to sit in these chairs. When they sit in these chairs, I'm going to enhance them. I'm going to teach them the things that they don't know about themselves, and I'm going to show them their own ability that they already possess, but I'm going to show them how to put it into effect. See, she don't go in there thinking that I'm going to place in their mind the ability to add and subtract. No, the mind already got that. What she got to do is she got to go in there and open the wrapper. Once she open the wrapper and unwrap it, they're going to realize, because when they walk in, the first thing she's going to ask them, who can tell me 1 + 1? And they'll look at each other and, I don't know. You know that answer? They'll ponder it amongst themselves, and she'll tell them all the time. They'll say, no, we don't know. I've never done this, so I don't know this. She said, oh, you know how to do it, baby. You just got to apply yourself to be able to achieve what you need to achieve. See, what we don't do with God is apply ourselves, but we want to think that we can understand the scriptures when we never open the book. But a teacher will sit in a classroom empty with great expectations of who's going to come in. But the thing of it is, when they come in, they must have the willingness to say to the teacher, teach me that I don't see. Not that I don't know. Teach me what I don't understand I have the ability to do. Place in me the ability to unlock the door to do the things I want to do. Mm-hmm. You can go to a nurse's class, Felicia, and you don't even know nothing about nursing. But if you go with the mind that says, teach me what I don't see about myself, and open up the ability and give me the knowledge that I need, because I got the capacity to hold it, because you can make a deposit in me. See, what teachers do, they make deposits in the children all day long. They don't make deposits for immediate return. They make itsy-bitsy deposits little at a time. Yep. They don't go into the classroom trying to do. But these scriptures tells us that then he said, if I have done iniquity, if I've done some sin, Lord, I won't do it no more. First, show me where I messed up. Show me where I came short. Show me where I need to correct, and I'll fix it. Show me what I don't see about my own self. That's the good thing about a minister. A minister is not here to try to teach you how to live your life, but a minister is here to enhance your life, to show you the errors in your life that you need to address. Because he's not telling you that you are no good, but what he's saying is, if you address these issues, you will be better. Mm-hmm. I remember going to my classroom, my spelling class, and lady give me 10 words to spell, and I miss every single one. And I'm going to show you something in this one. She deposited in me the ability to spell the word. But because I was not conditioned to receive it, I wasn't willing to receive what she was depositing, I allowed it to go into the wrong account. Sometimes you can make a deposit and it'll go into somebody else's account. Yep. You know why? Because a smudge may get on the bottom of your check on your microscript, and when it gets on there, it's gonna tell the check to go to the wrong account because it changed an 8 and make it a 0 because it put a smudge in the right place to change that 8 over. Felisa know what I'm talking about. Some of you that dealt with deposits and data entry, you know sometimes the machine may put the wrong number. When it put the wrong number, it creates another account for it to go in. It's either going to go in an account that it don't supposed to go into, or it's going to go into space, and it's going to sit there, and it's not going to be able to be deposited nowhere. And they're going to try to figure out where did this deposit need to go, because it's got to go somewhere, because it can't sit in nowhere land. It's got to go somewhere. See, God is trying to make deposits, but deposits are stuck in nowhere because so many people are not positioning themselves to receive what God is trying to deposit. So God got a lot of depositing in the atmosphere that he's trying to make, but we're not willing to say, Lord, what must I do to help you right now? Oh, let me get back to my story. I got to get back to it. The lady gave the test. She gave me 10 words to spell and make an F. And I was embarrassed. Back in my day when I was going to school, and this will tell my age, but when I would go to school, they would put a hat on you, a cone hat that said dumb or dummy. And they would put it on you, and you would have to wear the hat all day. And you would sit over there with all the other kids with the dumb hat on. And you couldn't take it off. You couldn't pull it off. But they thought they were depositing good deposits in me. They thought they were doing us a favor by making us look embarrassed in front of the class. Now, we sit there like that, and all the other kids that skate by and just made enough to pass, they say, ooh, you dumb, I'm smart, and they will make you feel bad about your process. I remember going home, and I told my mom, I don't want to wear the dumb hat no more. I'm tired of wearing that hat every time she give a test. I need to not wear that hat, and I need to be not in the section with the dumb children. I need to be over in the section with the kids that are learning. And I said, Mama, what's wrong with me? Why can't I learn? And she would study with me, and we'll study the words. And I go back to school to take the test. And I knew I had the test, because Mama said, number 1, she'd tell me the word, I'll spell it. She said, number 2, she'll give me the word, I'll spell it. She said, number 3, she'll give me the word, and I'll spell it. Now, the thing of it is, I received a portion of the deposit, but not the full deposit. Somebody said, what are you talking about? I received the deposit that she said, 1 is cat, 2 is dog, 3 is house, 4 is car. And I had it in my head just like that. When I went back to school, and I sat in the dumb section, and I said, I'm getting ready to come over there with y'all because I got this one. And everybody said, oh, you got it. I said, oh, I got it because I studied all night. I got it. She said, number 1, dog. But I wrote cat because my process said number 1 was cat. She said number 2 is house. But I wrote number 2 as being a dog because my process was all messed up. And when we finished the 10 words, we passed it to our neighbor, that our neighbor grade our paper. I just knew mine was correct. We checked him. He gave me back my paper, and it had all these X's on it. And he put a big fat 0 on it. And I said, man, why you do that? I got all these words correct. And I went to the teacher. I said, he done messed up. I've got all these words right. He done said I mixed up these words. She looked at the paper. She said, she didn't call me Mr. Gunn. She said, Willie, you got all the answers spelled right, but you got them in the wrong places.
Hallelujah.
How many times have God tried to deposit, like I told you, but you in the wrong place at the wrong time, receiving the wrong blessing? Because you're somewhere somebody else should be, but you're so busy. That's why they'll say.
Today's devotional is provided by